What? Wait, hold on. Did someone just say that we've turned 10? What? And I thought we were just still 2. What happened here? How did it happen?
Time flies, huh?
Yeah, very, very, really fast, really soon. Okay, what drew me to join HackerEarth? A question that I get reminded of every single time that I'm talking to our new people, right? During our, welcoming and onboarding session. And I love it because it makes me kind of go back 4 years, rewind back into 4 years, and me sitting in the HackerEarth office where I've come in to meet Sachin, and I'm waiting. And the first thing that struck me was I see this really big, bold poster. I think it was in red for us at that point in time, saying, "Don't be an asshole." And that's it. And I was waiting at the reception, looking at this poster, and I'm like, "Oh wow!" And that totally spoke to me. And I was like, I'm really curious to meet the people around here and see, do they really walk the talk? Or is it only the talk? I loved it. It was so me. And it was also, I think, at the core of the way I work and deal with people. So, and also something that I was very particular with, right? Yeah, so the value of the poster, don't be an asshole. And I'm sure a lot of people have gotten tired of listening to this story from, my earlier days back then. And it still holds good. And that's the best part. I love it. It still holds good. Yeah. And then, of course, the people. The people. And as cliche as it may sound, and like a tape going on and on over again, but it is the people. I met every single person, of course, only people who were leading as leaders in the company at that point in time. And I think there were about 7, 8 people, different people that I met. And then we can explain to you the emotion that I came out, right? Every single time I walked into the meeting room, had a conversation with the other person sitting there. And these are folks who are at the top leading the company. I walk out of the room and I say, oh my God, this conversation was so different from my previous conversation. But it didn't matter with whom. It was the CEO, it was someone heading sales or the operations. Marketing did not matter. I'm just saying every single conversation felt so different, and they were so different as people. And I was like, this is a very interesting place. And I've never come out with that feeling, where meeting a bunch of people, you're like, wow, this is going to be quite interesting, because my job is actually is a lot to deal with people, right? And of course, I'm also helping, I do have the job of helping solving for some business and people challenges in hand, but I was super excited with the kind of people whom I met. Because in my mind, it was like, if they seem so different, looked, felt very different at the top, as I was very biased to kind of thinking that it could probably feel the same at the ground level too, because these are the folks who are hiring people, right, for the company. And that's what actually made me join the company. And I took a risk with that because I said, hey, I'm being biased. I feel like the company is very diverse. It's pretty non-judgmental. I kind of gathered that from the kind of people that I met over there. And I said, I want to really give this a chance. Because I was excited. I was excited also with the business problems that I saw that we were struggling with, and where we wanted to convert it into a success story. And I said, it's a great opportunity for me to learn even more, unlearn a few things. I think grow, individually kind of develop on my own, and also kind of use the skill sets that I already had, right? Then, and personally for me, I think, yeah, that really, really made me join HackerEarth as a company. And voila, I'm still here. And it's going to be, and I have to be honest, it's going to be very, very difficult for me to work with another company, right? If it has to be a next job, I will write and give it to you, that's going to be a very, very difficult task for me to kind of do, because I feel like I don't want to work after here. Yeah, it's so cute. Makes me feel like I have company. I think, personally, when you ask me this question, culture is the most important thing in any world, right? In any world that we're talking about, tech, and I'm going to come to tech, be it tech, be it retail, be it the banking and finance sector. But I think, and again, you could call me as being very biased over here, but it's kind of worked out really well for all of us till now. So I'm not complaining, and I'm going to still say that culture is the most important thing if you're going to work with people and not machines, right? Now, tech world, very interesting. Now, of course, there's an element where, depending upon whether, if you're in the tech world, then you really need to excite your people accordingly to kind of contribute and make the best outcome happen for the business out there, right? So then in the tech world, you need to see, hey, what really excites my people, right? You have to have, so from my experience, I think automation, using tools and human effort together excites people. Apps, different kinds of technology, new updates and updated technology, giving people opportunity to kind of work on those technologies. Everything kind of really, really challenges people in the tech world. Challenging people with challenging business problems, right? It kind of challenges people out there. So you really need to work with, I think, go back and answer this question of what excites my people, and then you plug in things that into your work environment and culture that excites your people, and then make it work for your business, right? That's very important. What I'm trying to say is you can't use the same yardstick for every yardstick everywhere. You really need to sit down and think about what will work for me out here, and then you take that call. Yeah. All right. Well, my favorite question, and I feel very proud every single time when I answer this, because and also because people who are in the company, and I will write it down and give it to you, that people who are in the company, people who leave and come back to us, they're not perfect, right? But I think our culture is something that we have really gotten right 100% and above, right? And I have this validated from every single person in the company and outside who's coming back to us, or who's still outside and telling us about it. And we're very, very proud of it. I think what really worked for us is simple, going back to the basics. Being when I think about our culture, it's got no boundaries. There is no square or rectangle or whatever. It's very, very open. It's safe. It's non-judgmental. It's highly, highly respectful. And yes, it does go back to our value of don't be an asshole, which by which we mean is telling people that, listen, be respectful, simple, right? We treat people as how we would like to be treated by others. We don't judge people at all, which means you and I can just be our whole selves at work. You can be sad, you can be happy, you can be grumpy. You put in a meeting, but you're like, hey, I'm not in a good headspace to take this meeting today. It's okay. I can tell someone that and cancel the meeting and reschedule it, and that's completely fine. All of us understand. We're not going to judge, right? All of us understand that we're working with human beings out here, and that's the basic premise of the way we do things out here, and that's the core of the way we do things out here. Of course, we use expertise in terms of methods and processes and practices. Again, it's not written in stone. We're extremely agile. We change if and when we need to change. if there is if there is a policy that is in place, that we've kind of put in place a year or two ago, and it's worked for us till now, and today if someone, we see that, hey, it's not really working for us anymore, we just change the policy and make it work. So we are extremely, extremely agile. We are very, very honest and open in our communication, and this is on each and every person in the company. I'm not just saying from the top, every single person in the company, which means our people are very vocally challenging us too. It's a safe space for people to challenge us. We challenge people, people challenge us, and I think it's not easy to be challenged, right? Especially, I think sometimes as leaders of the company, when you're standing there and saying, hey, you want to challenge us, right? But also support is important, which means even when we challenge our people, or when our people challenge us with questions and asking for things they feel like they want, there is also an environment and space of support that we are providing out there, saying, wherein we can say a yes, no, or maybe when we are being challenged to an ask, and also saying, why are we saying a yes, no, or maybe? Right? So there's a very, very strong culture of challenge and support, which is not easy for every other company to kind of behold and sustain. There is a strong action for buyers, and there's a very high expectation on having that strong action for buyers. It's expected from every one of us, which stays. We're also a fun bunch of people. I think fun and humor is very an important element which is embedded in the DNA of our culture. It's there in anything and everything that we do. Sometimes people ask, it's a nice question. People ask me, hey, what do you do for fun in the company? And I'm like, and I take a few seconds, to kind of answer that, saying, oh, but we don't do anything. We do something separate, but it's us. It's a part of us, And I think a lot of people have turned back and said, we've really enjoyed the interviewing process with us, because it just seems fun and easy, and just easy to kind of have that two-way conversation with each other to see if this role that we're looking for matches for the both of us or not. So I think these words really, really form a part of the culture, right? And the trick, if you ask me, is going back to the basics of having a very, very open, boundaryless culture where you just let people be. And there's a lot of talking that happens between all of us, and we listen and then we act on things. It's simple. We make mistakes, we make a lot of mistakes, but we learn from the mistakes and we don't make the same mistake again. And that's a thumb rule that we follow too. So yeah, I think that would be it, the main ones. It's a little different right now, but we still, I think in the whole hybrid working scenario, we have elements of it still happening. But I think I'll share something that's been always very close to my heart, and which we consistently try and recreate. When we have our all hands, I still remember my first all hands. Oh my God, there was so much energy, and of course, different times we were all in the office. But it was high in energy in terms of, there was so much fun, I think talking about business, our ambitious goals and updates and etc., I think it's a typical theme that we see, that I've personally seen in every all hands. What was different for me was that everyone were having so much fun, asking questions, asking very difficult questions. One of the questions was saying, hey, we heard that this person left the company. Did we ask them to leave, or did they leave? Right? Now, that's a very difficult question to, when you're sitting on the other side as management of the company, to kind of come by your way. And we answered it in a very, very honest, transparent way. And I loved seeing that. As a part of our tradition, we always invite the new people and ask them about their hobbies, what they love doing, what they don't love doing, and ask them to do a little bit of a trick that we feel like they would enjoy doing, right? So I think those bits and pieces, the fun element part of it, I thoroughly enjoyed, and the way we celebrate people's work anniversaries and tenure, um, it just seemed like every day kind of felt like a celebration, because you're always celebrating. There's someone always having their anniversary where everyone just gathers up. You are made to talk, like you're asking questions about, hey, what's your favorite, your most embarrassing moment in the company, your most moment where you felt a lot of pride in the company, moment where you've laughed, you've cried, and all of that. And you're like, wow, everyone's gathered. You're listening to them, sharing memories, and participating in it takes you. And then I realized that what everyone's doing is it's very powerful. It's a very powerful activity to do, because it's always nice to kind of stay put and kind of think about how the years have gone by, and because as human beings we sometimes forget the great times that we've had, and the not so great times that we've had. That's also kind of made us much more stronger and maybe be much better at what we're doing as today, how we've grown as individuals, right? So yeah, I thought it was a great way to kind of celebrate someone's tenure and years gone by in the company, and everyone's kind of cutting cake and having a little bit of fun and disperse, and it keeps happening again and again and again consistently, right? As a it became the core of the culture of the company. So 10 years is a long time, but I think one thing that really stands out for me is, it's going to be a world of change and disruption. Everything that we knew about, hey, there is a certain way in the working world, right? That has stayed, and it's already changed, thanks to the pandemic and different other situations that we've had. And we still continue to see a lot of changes, and there's an element of surprise that is taking all of us by, right? So I think it's as a person in HR and someone who's actually thinking about, you're hiring talent for the company, you're hiring people for the company, you're making certain decisions on what next to do depending upon certain ambitions that we have as a company. And I think being a part of that team, you're constantly trying to predict a certain situation for tomorrow. So I think reflecting on that, the next 10 years, the two words that really stands out for me on top of my mind are change, disruption. It's going to be a very, very disruptive world out there, especially in the working environment. Everything is going to change, and what we all need to do or learn to do better as individuals or even businesses out there is to be very, very agile, not fear change. Get excited with it. It's okay. Because I see that there are really good things coming out of it, right? I like it. I like it today when I see that opportunities in terms of work and opportunities in terms of spotting and hiring talent from anywhere across the globe. It's just opened up and is just constantly opening up even more, which means if you're going to be a company who's going to have a rule book of yes or no, that's not going to work. It's really not going to work. I think all of us need to be, as individuals and businesses, be very, very open to, hey, how can we make our workspace and the working world, keep it as agile as possible, having a few parameters, checks and balances in place, right? So yeah, I would say I'm quite excited. I'm quite excited in terms of, I don't know what technology and the tech world is going to look like, when you talk about 10 years. And then I'm excited about the change because it's going to challenge us a lot as people, right? And also people dealing with the kind of automation that we will see in the world out there. Yeah, very, very disruptive, which also means agile. It has to be a very, very agile world. Otherwise, we're going to lose out. I find it difficult that, like, wow, we're 10 years old. I still feel like we are very young. 10 years, 10 years, 10 years. As I said, I just feel like, oh, we're just 2 or 3. So when I kind of reflect back, I spent 4 years in the company, and I still feel so connected to the company. I think the way I felt about it, the way I felt about the opportunity before joining the company, the way I felt about the company after joining, and 4 years down the line, the way I feel about the company today is just the same. And it really says something to me. It really says something, I think, about all of us, I think, as a part of this community out here. And I'm very, very proud, very, very proud of it. So it's a big moment. Yes, it's a big moment, and yeah, I think it calls for a huge celebration.